CGIs help to sell. You're not showing any of the specification of the units. You're not showing what the floor plans are that they're buying into. All of that detail comes after you've sold the dream. So you're selling the location, you're selling the great transport links into London, also giving them a rundown, very high level of the types of facilities that they can expect in the area. So it's marketing fluff, but it sells. This is the type of stuff that people are going to be buying into. My top tips around this is we want to sell the old maltings. We've got 5 already exchanged. We're almost finished on a lot of the flats now. So we really want to be pushing this, getting viewings done and trying to get sales over the line. And to do that, we create sales brochures. I'm going to talk you through literally the first draft of the document that we received from our designer and talking you through some of the things that we want to change, some of the reasons behind why you want to change them, what you should be looking out for when you're creating sales brochures for your properties. Starting with the old maltings, steeped in history. It was built in the 18 somethings, has been used as a malt house, a brewery, right next to one of the big train lines where they used to bring all of the malt in on that train line, ship it over to the maltings house. This sort of front image is quite important. You want it to represent kind of your building, what your history of that building is all about, etc. This is something that's more industrial, more factory-like with the smoke coming out of this big chimney. That's not the type of building that we've got. So we've asked them to sort of relook at this, make it more appealing to, what a malt house looks like rather than a factory, because they are very two different distinct things. Again, starting straight away with some of the history of the site, a nice black and white image from back in the 1920s, potentially. You can see the railway line coming in. You've got other buildings that are surrounding it. The building itself nowadays has had various extensions. So you can see kind of what it was, back then and when it was used as a malt house. And this is where you want to start selling the dream, selling the building and the history that you're buying into. So once a malt house, now a thoughtfully restored new development of 21 comfortable apartments and 2 muse houses with a unique and interesting link to the past. And that's the type of thing that you want to start setting out your stall early in terms of the lifestyle and the history of the project. And that all helps to really sell things. Moving on to a couple of CGIs, this is what they're buying into. This is the site itself. This is where you can showcase what your property is going to look like, what it's going to be for them as they drive in to park their car and walk up to their communal access, stair core up to their flat. This is what they're going to be seeing. So this hero CGI is something really important to throw in as early as possible to the brochure to capture their imagination, give them something that shows them what they're going to be buying into. You can see some of the history with this sort of chain and pulley, which they would have had in these types of maltings. There was fires in these buildings. Parts of it was rebuilt. It's been extended on over a period of time. So we felt like a really good way of selling that story in this particular sales brochure was having a timeline. So, 1875, malt house is first shown on the Ordnance Survey map. 2 additional malt houses were built nearby for the same company, redeveloped in 1999 to offices for the local housing association. All of this stuff is great kind of insight into what the property was and how it sort of transitioned over the couple of years. A little bit about the wider town that it's in. So Abingdon, again, is a historic market town, loads of history, lots of lovely looking buildings to showcase. The Nag's Head on the river, which we've eaten at and drank at numerous times. It helps to sell, what the opportunity that you're selling is in terms of buying into a place where there's fantastic food options, there's fantastic parks, there's great walks, there's canals, there's rivers, and all of this all before the point in which you even start talking about the development itself. You're not showing any of the specification of the units. You're not showing what the floor plans are that they're buying into. All of that detail comes after you've sold the dream. So you're selling the location, you're selling the great transport links into Oxford, into London, into Reading, for example, and then also giving them a rundown, very high level of the types of facilities that they can expect in the area. So Old Maltings is here. You've got all these numbered locations which show you where you can dine, show you what shops there are, local services for pharmacies, doctor surgeries, parks, schools, all of that interesting stuff that people are, if they're coming from outside of the area and don't know it that well, this page in one page really gives them a great understanding of the types of facilities that they're effectively buying into with your development. A bit on the interiors. So only now we're like 13 pages into 26 pages. We're only now looking at the actual interior design of the flats that you're looking to buy. A little bit of blurb around the fluffy stuff, a bright contemporary interior with warm character where natural materials and minimalistic design create an exceptional sense of everyday comfort. It's marketing fluff, but it sells. This is the type of stuff that people are going to be buying into. These CGIs help to sell them living there. They can picture themselves living in that kitchen, cooking in that kitchen, and that's what it's all about at this stage. After that, once you've we've given a little bit about the interior design, what they're buying into, then it comes to more of the sort of the specification. So not the boring stuff, because it's all very important, but it's what they're buying, not necessarily what they're buying into. It's the detail around it. So what kitchen facilities are there? What flooring are they expecting to have? My top tips around this is to be prescriptive, but not tie yourself into something that might change at a later date. Remember, if you're selling this 12 months in advance of finishing your scheme, you still need to have a little bit of wiggle room if you want to up spec something, down spec something, slightly change the worktop. If you're absolutely gunning for a Carrara marble worktop and that's what you put in this specification, and you find that it costs double what you expected it to down the line, you want the flexibility of maybe potentially lowering that spec if you need to. So by putting something like stone worktops in your specification, you're covering all bases instead of saying Carrara marble from such a town in Italy. That's way too prescriptive and way too in depth for what you need in a brochure to cover all bases. And then a site plan, just to give some insight into kind of what the overall site looks like, where the location of each individual flat is within that development. You've got a ground floor, second floor, first floor, third floor, for example. And then you go into the individual units themselves. And the types of comments we're making on this are actually quite small. It's just this rug around the bed makes it look a bit overcomplicated. They've shown sort of timber type flooring hatches within bedrooms, which will be carpet and should sort of represent that type of finish rather than showing a timber flooring throughout. And just a couple of things that from a technical and a practical perspective, you should be making sure that you're being absolutely clear, i.e. the eaves in this bedroom don't go all the way to the eaves in the single bedroom. There are actual walls that stop, noise transfer and stop the storage in between those spaces, so that you don't get silly questions from buyers saying, well, what if it's a HMO and I want to rent it out, and is this person going to get annoyed that they can hear absolutely everything coming from this bedroom? Is things like that from a technical perspective, you probably want your architect to look over these, make some of their own comments, pick up on things like this.
If you got value from this video, make sure you click the subscribe button down below and ring the notification bell, because we release one video at least every week, so you'll be the first to get notified. See you on the next one.